Rabbi say Simin Kufnul Vav Seder Masa Matan, the Seder of how one should have dealings and business. There is a Chazal tell us. We learned last week about 2 weeks ago about the Ina Kviyas Itim Torah. A person should set up times to learn Torah. We have to remember that the concept of Kviyas Itim is really a second level. It says, "V'hagisa b'yom v'layla." The pasuk says in Yeshua, that one should learn Torah day and night whenever he has an opportunity. Kviyas Itim means you are learning specific times in the morning and at night, not the whole time. That's because we have to work. So,
well, is that the mitzvah? Kviyas Itim or to learn?
Yeah, set up times.
ממש לא...
maybe he was here. בזמן היה או שהוא בא מדי פעם?
קופץ מדי פעם. שב תלמד ואולי לך מזל.
לא צריך להיות אצל מישהו.
Loi amru kviyas itim l'toira. Chazal did not tell us that you should be kiveya itim l'toira, set up times. Itim is maloshin zmanim. 8. Someone who needs to support himself and his family, so such a person should set times to learn. Someone who does not need to do this because they have money on their own. For some reason they have a Yerusha, whatever it is, they won the lottery. Or they have parnasa, someone else is supporting them. Let's say he's newly married and he's a son-in-law, and there's the father supporting him or something else like this. So then, was obligated to fulfill.
There's no excuse.
No excuse. So if you have to work and do parnasa, so then v'gisa b'yom alayla takes on a different meaning. It means you do some of the yoim, you koveya time and itim in the morning and a koveya at night. That's how you're mekayim v'gisa b'yom alayla. But someone who's able to has to mekayim kipshute. He doesn't have any excuses. He has to mekayim kipshute. We have a job. Hashem set ourselves up a job. It's not pshat, I have all the money. I'll just learn in the morning and night. The rest of the day I'm going to play around and spin the dice. No. You have to learn. You have Hashem already set up a job for you.
That's your job.
Yeah, it's your job. You have a lot of things to learn. He gave us seichel for a reason. Even someone who needs to work, he should make his work, try to make his work temporary. The main focus only kidei panasasa b'vad, just to earn enough for your panasa. V'teirasei kava, and his Torah should be kavua. And he'll have both. He'll have parnasa and he'll have Torah. However, someone who doesn't have any outside support, he doesn't have money, but he says, you know what, I don't want to work, I want to just learn the whole day. But he has no way to support himself.
It's Avera.
In the ending, it's not going to continue the learning. It's going to be bottled. Why? You're going to be poor, and you can't continue when you're poor. It's going to take you away from your master, take you away from Hashem. So you need to work, unless you have another way of support. Someone who has a cheshik to really learn Torah and to fulfill this mitzvah as much as possible, he should do a work enough, a little bit every day, just in order to live that day. Those days you went to the market, you sold something, you sold a little bit, then you could close up shop and go back home.
Today it's a different matzah.
Right.
The person has a job.
Yeah, Paiskim say it's not shaykh today. There's a different seder
But it
hadvarim.
still was before World War II. There's still, I knew stories of people.
Yeah, people didn't have to have a business open the whole
they
time.
sold some diamonds and then they learned.
Right? They did a little business. They went to the market. They sold something, and even if you weren't there every day, you could still make business.
But today
And you learned kidei chayav, and that was it.
Rabbi Middah Yosef, was going to yeshiva during the day, afternoon going helping the family with supermarket, and the whole night he was learning.
Was this too?
For a lot of years he did. However, there was learning in yeshiva, helping the family in the grocery or something,
Right.
working, and at night he used to go the whole night learning.
Yeah.
That's why he became a rabbi there.
Siv Beis. When someone does work or do business, there's a difference between business and work, right? Work is someone who has a certain job they do. Business means, you're trying to buy and sell. It's a business. A person's kavana should not be that I'm doing this just because I need my physical body. Your kavana should be that I need in order to serve Hashem. I need to be strong in order to serve Hashem. Like this famous story where one of the Chabad Rebbeim, the Reb Marash, he wanted to show what's the difference between a guy and a yid. So he called in the Goyish worker, and he said to him, "Why do you work?" So he says, "In order to make money." "Why do you make money?" He says, "In order I should be able to buy a drink." And so that's where it basically ended up. You should be able to live. Why do you live? To drink. So then he asked the Yid, and ending up that he has to serve Hashem. So there's a certain purpose why we're here. And that way manner comes out. The Rambam explains, if a person has his kavanah, that whatever he's doing, he's sleeping, he's eating, his parnasa comes out in all your ways, not only in Torah and mitzvahs. In your drachim, in your business, and things that you are doing, you're learning about Hashem. You're connecting everything, your drachim, to Hashem. Not only your Torah and mitzvahs, that's for sure. That's Hashem's mitzvahs. Has no meaning besides for what Hashem told you to do it. That's the value of it. But even things which the value seemingly is not Torah and mitzvahs. It's drchecha. But you should do it in a way that these things are all here in order to help you have knowledge of Hashem. The middle of Beis. V'chayev kol adam lilmid l'bnei malacha. A person is obligated to teach his son work, how to do a certain job, say to do a certain apprenticeship, or to teach him how to do business. If one does not do this, it's as if he taught him robbery. How is it so? If he has no source of income, what's he going to do? He's going to have to resort to scandals and scamming and stealing because he has no other method of supporting himself. So a person's obligated to give his family, teach them a path. Unless they have the lottery, they have some other way. But if not, you have no other way. V'yizar, now we're going to discuss a little bit the manner that someone should have business. How should we do business? And we're going to hear very high levels of what's demanded. We all have to strive to these things, even if we're not on the highest madrega.
Every minute the person works is Kiddush Hashem. People look at you, what you're doing. You're a Jew, you're with yarmulke, with a head. They look at you different. So every second in your life...
But that's not why you're doing it. You're there doing your job because...
You have to make a living.
Right. But, of course, you have the opportunity to make a Kiddush Hashem, and the other hand, you have the opportunity to make a Chil Hashem, Chas v'Shalom, right?
David.
It's both ways. V'yizaher lisa v'litem b'amuna. A person should be careful to do business in a trusting way. He shouldn't change things that he says. He says one thing, then he says another thing. He says yes, then he says no. Shenema, like it says on the pasuk, Hin sedek yilach. It says, it's an interesting drasha. It says, V'hin sedek yilach. You should have a measurement. Your measurements in your home should be righteous. means that you should make sure that they're all correct measurements, that you shouldn't be stealing. Because let's say the measurement says on it that it's 5 pounds, and really the thing doesn't weigh 5 pounds, it weighs 4.5 pounds. So now when you're buying and you're saying, I gave you to somebody, you measure the scale, I gave you 5 pounds worth of apples, and say you charge them 5 pounds, really it's only worth 4.5. So that's what it says, hin tzedek yilach. However, there's a drush of Chazal in the pasuk. The word hin can be read hein, yes. And Lashon Kodesh, hein means yes. The hein tzedek sheyiyeh hein shalcha. Your yes should be tzedek, should be righteous. When you say yes, it should be a yes. The la shalcha. When you say no, it should be tzedek. It should be righteous. It should be correct. It should be a no. There should be clarity. When you say yes or no, fulfill your words. Make sure that your words stand corrected. Top of page Shin Tzaddik Aleph, second line. Anyone who changes what he says yes, then he says no, and yes. It's as if he's oivid kichavim mazolis. Now he goes on to a higher madrega.
It's as though what? He's ki'ilu.
Ki'ilu, he worshipped idols. I'm not sure what's the specific comparison to. It's very extreme to this level.
Very extreme. It's not true to his word.
Right? I guess it shows a lack of belief in Hashem, you know. Now here we go to a very high level. Even if someone has a thought in his mind that he wants to do something in business, someone who's a madrega of a Yiddish Shemayim, even if he had in mind to do something, he should do it. Should speak truthfully, even in your heart, not only in your mouth. You speak in the peh, even belev, belvave should be emes. This only has to do with something between you and your friend. You made up something in your mind. There's an inyan not to retract it, even in your mind. What happens if you make up something regarding yourself, nothing to do with your fellow? And I'm going to go to California. You have no inyan to go to California if you decide you don't want to go. It's not a problem that you could switch around. It doesn't mean that you're lacking this madrega of Yireh Shemayim. Except if it's a mitzvah, something which has to do with a mitzvah. You made up to do a mitzvah. There's an inyan to be mekayim. You thought in your mind, I'm going to give tzedakah, I'm going to give $1 to tzedakah. So there's an inyan v'doiver emes b'vavei to mekayim it. It's not an aveira. It's something that it's a level of Yireh Shemayim.
What happens if the person sells on Shabbos Elias? He said 10 times 5. Somebody said 20 times 5. He still have to pay the 10 times 5? According to what we just
No, it's a good question. Here it's like a condition. Because he didn't make up really. It's a condition that
you're willing to give tzedakah 10 times 5.
Right, but you're waiting until he's
bidding.
Right, you're bidding and you don't know what.
Bidding is different.
Maybe the question is if the guy who's 20 times higher shopping the
Right?
No, probably wouldn't do it because nobody would want to bid it. So you know that
Right.
they have to give
Right, yeah, obviously if you have kavanah, it's like as if you have a tanai, like a condition that you're not really making it. You're not really making a
You didn't
sign.
say I'm going to give 10 times 5.
Now, afilu mipnei hashalom, even in regards to for peaceful there's a we know that Chazal tell us that you're allowed to change and say a story in order to keep peace. How even for the sake of peace, one should not promise a lie to his friend. Well, they amru Chazal did not tell us mutal l'shanas b'nei hasholem pnei b'sipur dvarim shekarav.
Wait a minute, hold it.
Only if it's something only something in the past. If you want to talk about something which happened in the past, someone said he did this, and you want to make peace, you can say no, he didn't do it, and it's not a problem. You can lie about the past for the sake of peace.
Aaron, how come?
Right? He said he doesn't really hate you, he likes you, and this, and he made peace.
You can lie for shidduch. If you want the shidduch,
That's for the
maybe-
future. You can't lie, but I'll tell you something. That the Alter Rebbe has a mimer which he says he doesn't give a heter. He just says the fact is that every shidduch happens with some sort of
Something,
lie,
of course.
some level of a lie.
Every
They Bechlal say some type of lie in every shidduch, and that's how the shidduch. So he said that in the Bechlal, the Welt says of art. They say that what is the Rosh Tevis of a shatchin? Sheker doiver, he speaks lies. Kesef noitel, but he takes money. So he speaks lies and takes money. That's a sheker kesef. I don't want to put down shatchanim. It's in the family, but that's what the Welt says of art. But shkarim. But the Alter Rebbe does have a Maimer Chassidus where he talks about that in Shidduch. He basically talks as a certain Gemara story that I don't remember the exact story. One of the Tanoim was talking with a certain Goyish princess, and basically he was saying how Hashem is unbelievable. How he puts together Shidduchim. He gets everyone paired up. So she said, "What's the big deal? I could also pair people up."
He had slaves.
So she prepared. She took up hundreds of thousands of slaves and male slaves. She put them together. I could also make shidduchim, this one for this and that. But then, the next day they came back and they were screaming and yelling, and it didn't work out. So basically, she had seichel. She was smart. So the Alter Rebbe explains there that a shidduch is not only about logic. There's something deeper to it. It's bashert. It's something higher than seichel, and that's also why things don't always go the straight way. There has to be some type of crook in this, because it's not supposed to be logical. Everything, something illogical about it, the shidduch, because really that's where it comes from. Some koyach of Hashem to make it.
Somebody asked a painter, Yeshua painter, years ago. I was in the shiro. Asked him if you're allowed to lie in shidduch. So he answered, shidduch without lie is not shidduch.
But he didn't give the heter.
That's his answer. Shidduch without a lie, it's not a shidduch. And also for it kayem.
So it depends what you're saying. Sometimes everyone understands that there's certain types of people like to speak a little flowery. Kalanov, a chasuda, she's really beautiful. Well, beautiful could be in different levels. How do we determine that? And someone says, they call up, is he a frum person? Is he a chassidish person? Well, that can be very vague terminology. To go say something outright lie, let's say there's a certain major important thing, a health issue, something else, it's not, if you want, you could say you don't have to take the call. You not necessarily have to take the call. But you can't say something which is not true, could be detrimental, and the person could have a shidduch nebach which could be problematic, and there could be issues. You're not necessarily helping. You're going to cause problems, because chas v'shalom could bring taget or who knows what, So we have to be careful. We could be persuasive. We could say certain things, but within the realm, It's tricky. It's tricky.
The second time I'm hearing this exact what you're saying, somebody told me this 4 hours ago. He said that it's higher, shidduchim is higher than the status, the contractions, or that come down directly from Hashem. It's not. It has to come through this straight from Hashem. So there has to be some.
I have to look it up somewhere. It's a short Maimer Alter Rebbe, which explains this Chazal and talks about it as being something that only Hashem has the koyach to make a shidduch. It's not something which can go seichel dik. We could say 2 + 2 is 4. It doesn't really work that way. It's not exactly 2 + 2 is 4. There's more to it. It's 2 + 2 is 5. There's another aspect there. It's not everything we understand about it. Now, so over here, by the way, in the parentheses, the Alter Rebbe does question this a bit, because since Shalom is so great, maybe there should be a heter that maybe even for saying something which is a sheker for the future, events in the future. The main heter to change something and say something which isn't true is for the past. What happened in the past, there's no need to hang on to the past if it's going to make Shalom, so you're allowed to say things differently than the way they were. One of the problems when people say things that they weren't the way they were, you have to make sure your story is consistent, you know. A person has to be careful not to say the name of Hashem for no reason. He's saying this especially when again people doing business deals, because people sometimes swear and things like that. They say the name of Hashem. You have to know you can't say Latala. Shebechol mokim shaskaras Hashem mitzuya. Any place where people mention the name of Hashem for no reason, misa oyanius mitzuya. There are terrible things found in those places. Yizoyer midshava afilu be'emes. Even a person in general should be careful even to swear for true reasons.
In other words, you shouldn't swear even if it's true. You
Exactly.
should try not to make a negative.
Exactly. Better not to. She'elaf ayaris hoyuloi. Yane hamelech. Yane had 1,000 cities. The kulam nechavu, and they all destroyed. Because they would constantly swear, even though they would fulfill what they swore. But that's not a way of life. That's not the Jewish way of life to swear. Gimel. That's why, you know, when it comes to government forums, sometimes they want you to swear on the bottom. So you have a choice because of this issue, even though it could be it's a true statement you're swearing, but we don't want to just swear things, especially if it wouldn't be emes. But if you're swearing something, so therefore the lashon is I affirm. We don't use a lashon shvua.
Even in
You should know, by the way, if someone does not say a language of shvua or a lashon of a neder, technically api halacha, it's not a shvua neder. It doesn't require hataras adarim. We are still machmir, even not to say lashonis languages, even that don't have the word. We don't say I will do this and this. We usually add the words bli neder, and we as an extra precaution. Even though if one didn't say bli neder, it's not considered a neder or a shvua unless one used specific terminology that's associated with a neder or shvua. Like a shvua would say, I swear, I'm making an oath. Certain words that mean shvua, and a neder has its unique terminology where you say this thing should be also to me like a carbon or like something which is treif with a certain language. If it's not those lashonis, even though we're l'chatchila machmer not to say that you're promising to do something, however, it's not considered a neder or a shvua technically, and therefore you don't need hataras nadar.
So what the minhag is?
Just to be cautionary,
No, in the
we say
army-
bli neder.
In the army, for example, the parachute, when you're getting your thing there, you have to swear with the Bible. Ani nishba emunim. Are you allowed to do this?
I don't know. That's what the from soldiers do also.
No, I didn't do it. They give you a choice not to do it.
You definitely shouldn't swear, especially by what are they asking you
No,
to
but
swear
why
by?
the concept?
Not necessarily the Israeli Constitution is even something we want to swear by, but for sure we shouldn't swear by it.
No, the congressperson wants to swear.
What do they do today? If someone doesn't want to swear, they don't have to swear by the from Yidden. Do they have to?
They can swear by anything.
You don't have to use the.
Muslim can swear by the
What about someone makes a cabal to do something better, to be more like a religious?
Muslim congressperson can
He
swear
wants to
by
do something more.
I know, right hand. You're
If
right.
you're noyig it 3 times, the minig.
I know you.
If you're noyig it 3 times, the minig it could become like a neder. In a minig toiv, a good thing that you do, you become accustomed to doing it, can have the status of a neder. So, if you did it a number of times, like let's say someone always has a certain minig, they stand on the whole Yom Kippur davening, but then they feel they're shvach, they don't want to do that anymore. It's too much for them, so they need hataras adarim because it's sort of like a neder because they're doing this constantly, even though maybe they never said out of their mouth that I'm taking upon myself a neder to always do this. But the fact they did a minig toiv, that's why the lashon is in hataras adarim. Oy minig toiv shenahaki b'shalish apamim, because then you want to make hataras adarim. But l'maisa just stamas is saying that you promise to do something, a person should keep his word. Like we learned over here, you know, hin shachah tzedek, what you say, but really a person should just be careful, and rather than saying these type of things, just say, I promise believe neder. You can add in the word believe neder. I will do it b'li neder. That's just not a chiyuv. It's just a minig that we're noyig to be precautionary lagabi nedarim and shvuos. You have sometimes someone gets very upset and they say, I'm telling you I'm not going to talk to you, or whatever it might be. People do this. So you have to know what the language was said. If there's no lashon shua neder, they don't need hataras adarim, although they shouldn't be talking that way. That's just a chila. Siv Gimel, we have a very interesting mitzvah essay. There's a mitzvah essay, Shel Min HaTorah Leilech B'Darkei Hashem. One of the Taryag mitzvahs is that we have to go in the ways of Hashem. Shenemar V'Alachta V'Drachav, you should go in His ways. What does this mean? We have to follow His road that He goes on. Kach Lomdu B'Pirush Mitzvazu. Chazal taught us, what does that mean? Mahu Nikra Chanon Af'ato Hayechanon. Just like Hashem is gracious and He does free things for us, also we should be gracious to people and give them things even though they didn't ask for it or pay us for it. Just like He is merciful, you should be merciful. Have rachmanis. Just like He is slow to get angry, so to you. As well. All the other emotions that a person has, one should compare oneself to his Creator. He should be disgusted from the bad parts of his behaviors and choose the good aspects. So it's an easy way, or maybe I should say a hard way, to mekayim a mitzvahs essay min haTorah of alachta v'drachav. By doing these things, doesn't even if I'm not putting on tefillin and shaking a lulav, but I'm doing midas of Hashem. It's a mitzvahs essay. The Ketzah now is going to give us advice. How should one have these beautiful midas? It's not so easy, we don't have it naturally necessarily. Ketzah yargel adam atzav midas toivis achi yukavaboy, till they become permanent by him. Yasa v'yishne v'yashalish v'maisim she'oyis apiminas ha'elu. Person should do it one time, a second time, a third time. V'yachs v'mtamesh tiyasiyasan kala be'inav. Should do it again and again till he becomes accustomed to doing it. So it's easier for him. He practices. Even though he doesn't want to have pity on someone, he practices to have pity on someone. V'yikavu hamidas benafshay. And eventually he will bring these midas into himself. Going, for example, if he has a miserly nature, Yifazer, he should give out a lot of money. Give a lot of money to poor people, and not only that, since you want to bring out within yourself that you're a giver and a giving personality, do things nice to even rich people. Just make every opportunity you have to be outgoing and to be a giver, you should. Until he will convey in himself the midah of Hashem that we say in the pasuk, v'rav chesed. Hashem has lots of chesed. After he got himself accustomed to this, so he now got rid of this nature of being a kilai, being miserly. One shouldn't throw away then as much. It's not an appropriate thing to just always give everything away. Takanas Hachama was that a person shouldn't spend more than a fifth of his possessions. He should go in the middle path, which is the good and straight path. Aga, by the way, the Alter Rebbe in Tanya says that this is, if someone wants to give more tzedakah, more than a choimish, in order to get kapara, get forgiveness for his avedis, a person has to do tshuva, but he also wants to get kapara, he wants to give a lot of tzedakah, does not go into this kalal, this rule of Yoisem Mechoimish, because just like, for example, if Chas v'Sholom someone wasn't well, they would give all the money they had to become well, even if it was more than a fifth. They wouldn't say, a fifth and that's it. Whatever it takes. So So the same thing, if someone's not well, beruchnius, Rahman al as well, a person should be willing to give and is allowed to give more than a fifth for those purposes. If a person shouldn't be so medactic in this halacha when it comes to tzedakah, if he needs to gain kapara for avoyness. A person should be easygoing with tzedakah. Chutz mishifas haruach. There are, even though all midas, a person really should go in the middle path, not extreme about the midah. But in order to get oneself accustomed to it, he has to go to the other side, because how is he going to get himself used to it? So he has to go to the other extreme, and then once he's clear that he got rid of this bad midah, he can go back to the middle path. But there are two exceptions to this rule. Chutz mishifus haruach, besides for being humble-spirited, shema'oid ma'oid have a shval ruach. Chazal tell us you should be very, very humble. It says, by Kalev told that when the Meraglim came back, so they said how bad Eretz Yisrael is. So Kalev said, no, toiva aretz ma'oid ma'oid. The line is very, very good. Ma'oid ma'oid. We also find over here, Chazal say, ma'oid ma'oid. Very, very have to be shval ruach. So it says that the Meraglim were missing was bittul. They were missing shiflus. To Hashem, that Hashem has the koyach to take these kings out and these giants. They conquer the land. They were missing the ma'oid ma'oid have a shvar ruach, so therefore they weren't zoichet to the toiva ha'aretz ma'oid ma'oid. They didn't have this ma'oid ma'oid, so they missed out that ma'oid ma'oid. I think that many years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, Rabbi Morozov one time published a kontris and on Hilchas Ribbis, and by Ribbis, the Dini Ribbis also says in Shulchan Aruch that a person should be ma'oid ma'oid, very, very careful with the Issa of Ribbis, of taking interest. And there's a number of places where it says ma'oid ma'oid, and in different places Shulchan Aruch, and he connected them all and showed why in certain places we use his language, strong language, and other places we don't. So a unique lashon which you only find in a few places. I owe a lot of Hakaras HaTayv of Morozov, because when I was young, Rabbi Morozov taught me, and he taught me in camp. He taught me Gemara. And he got me to start writing. He was the first one that got me to start writing in the Ha'aretz, in the Koitzim. He published, this was many, many years ago.
So now you think it?
Yeah.
Interesting. No.
I don't know if he remembers, but it was quite a lot of years ago.
He doesn't look too much older than you.
No, Ronaldo's
She
older.
thought we could have done a better job than you.
But no, he's not that much. He's probably 8, 9 years older than me.
What was his
Okay.
40?
Huh?
He's 40.
No. Ronaldo's probably 45.
Yeah, he was born. His bar mitzvah was
Hey, Tavis.
was
Tashim Zion. He's probably 45. He's becoming 45. He's 8 years older.
Birthday is 8 Tavis?
When you're young, a yeshiva bocher could teach a little bit.
Yeah, but I think he was 8 years older.
He must be 44.
You remember?
45.
I remember a little bit this year. We learned Perek HaMemad Likin in Shabbos. That's what I remember. Not much of the Perek I remember, but I remember
You know what
teaching. It's a long time ago. I don't know. It was quite a while ago. Okay, first, we're middle.
We had מאוד מאוד. את יעקב and send to Esau. Also had a word מאוד מאוד.
Yeah. Ki te'abas Hashem kol gova leiv. Hashem is disgusted with anyone who's haughty. Gova leiv means a high heart. L'chein yisrach means akteach, and a person should go to the opposite extreme. He should not go in the middle path. Anyone who lifts up one's heart, ki'ilu kafar be'ikr, as if he denies the ikr, meaning denies Hashem. Shenemar ram levavecha. If you lift up your heart, you will feel haughty. Shchat Hashem, you forget about Hashem. You're busy thinking about yourself, so you're not thinking about Hashem. V'chol mi sheyesh b'yadei gasas haruach hu ka'ashera. He's like an ashera tree. Ve'ein afarei ninar b'tchiyas hamesim, and his dirt does not rise, stir up by tchiyas hamesim. Chas v'shalom. So the mice, it's a very serious issue, and therefore one should not even have a little bit of it. V'chein hakas midah ra ma'od. Also, anger is a very bad midah. And actually, where does anger come from? It actually stems from the previous midah. When a person feels high about himself, so he gets upset. How can you say this about me? How can you do this to me? How can you sit in my place? You're pushing me. So he feels himself, he holds of himself too much, so this becomes an issue. This can bring to anger. And a person stay away from this to the extreme. Even sometimes you need to be upset at people just to show them this is the wrong behavior, to stay away from Aveda, to bring them back to the good path. You should make believe you are angry. Show an angry face. And his mind should be settled within himself. He shouldn't feel angry at all. He shouldn't feel all stormed up with it, stormy inside. And when it gets angry, the neshama leaves him for that minute. When he's angry, he's toidef nafshe. He rips up his nefesh. He shouldn't at all feel upset for those that get him angry. This is the path of tzaddikim. Aluvim, they become ashamed. They don't shame others. Shaimim charpasam, they hear their ashamed. They don't answer. They serve Hashem with ava. Smeichim b'yisurim, they rejoice with suffering because they see it as a kapara, forgiveness for their avedas. And these tzaddikim, it says, and his loved ones, Hashem's loved ones, kitzeis Hashemesh b'gvorasei, are like the sun which comes out in its full strength and glory. By the way, the gabe anger, over here he says a chazal that kol hakoyes ki'ilu oiv k'chol mazolis. Anyone who gets angry, it's as if he served avodah zarah. What's pshat? So there is another place in Tanya where he explains this concept, and he says that bichlal, the reality is there's a concept of hashkacha. Everyone of us Middah, that there's a hashkacha on the mina adam. That the hashkacha on anything shaykhs to a person and his possessions, Hashem watches, and whatever happens to him is malmayla. There's some type of cheshvan and calculation, whatever happens to a person or his own possessions. The Baal Shem Tov was brought to light the concept that there's hashkacha pratis, not only the min ha'adam, but in other minim of daim tzmei chai. But in the min ha'adam, there wasn't a shayla b'chlal. That's full of many, many psukim in the Torah all around that Hashem is mashgiach and concerns himself with all the actions of man. And everything we do, there's a din and a mishpat for everything. And there's schar. So l'maisa, the Alter Rebbe says when someone gets angry, something happens to him. So what does that mean? It means that you don't really believe that this thing that happened to you is supposed to happen to you. If you would really believe that Hashem is mashgiach on you, and that everything happens with a purpose, then you wouldn't be upset. Einachanami, that person that did it to you was not supposed to do it to you, and he had free choice. It's bechira chavshis, and he did it to you on his own free will, and he shouldn't have done it. And he's going to get his punishment Hashemayim.
That's right.
But the fact that it happened to you was supposed to happen to you. It's hard to understand how it fits together, but this is the fact that these are both two fundamentals of our emunah. That there is free choice, and on the other hand, Hashem is guiding everything. And everything's happening because Hashem wanted to. So if something happened to you, if you had real full emunah, you wouldn't be upset. Now obviously, we're not on this all in this madrega. I mean, at least I can talk for myself. So we have to know that when we understand the concept, it helps us just, at least we shouldn't become as angry. You know, it says that there's a difference between two types of people. There's a person, one person, he gets angry. If something happens, someone did something to him, he's all upset, and he's upset at the person. But you know, a little while later he thinks about it and he says, why did I get upset? It's not correct, it was going to happen to me, it's supposed to happen to me anyways. He thinks about it, and I was acting narish, and and he calms himself down, and he's meichel the person, and the story is over. Now, with a different type of person, that someone gets him upset, And a little while later, he thinks about it and he says, could you believe it, what that person said to me, what he did to me? And he gets himself even more upset. And as the time goes along, the fight and it gets even more bigger, because he's even more angry. So in a Chanami, we're not all in the Madrege where someone's going to just go and hit us out and we're going to smile, right? It's not going to be that level. So, but we have to remember that when you just know the truth and you know the emes, you start with your head, the Chabad, in your mind, you know, in Seichel, what the emes is, so then you can calm your midas down and work the other way, go down and not go up. I want to tell you something. I heard from Chassidim that it was in the early years, in 1968 there was, in 1969 maybe, there was the Rebbe used to have a Seder after 1965 when his mother, Rebbe Tzidchana, was nifter. He started a new inyan that his Fabrengens, he wanted to explain a Rashi on the Chumash, and every week he would have a Sicha just dedicated to a Rashi. There was always Sichas and different in Yadam and Torah, but it was going to be every single week he's going to discuss one of the Rashis and the Chumash and explain this Rashi. And L'maisa, he continued this practice throughout the years, but and there was even there was someone there. Wasn't even someone from wasn't someone who was a Lubavitcher, but he lived in Crown Heights, and Crown Heights then was like Borough Park. There was many different communities that lived there, and many people would come into the Rebbe's Fabring. And so this Yid really, he heard about the Rebbe's Rashi Sichos, and this really took him. He liked Kocht and Rashi, and he al Torah, and he had many kashas and everything. So he really appreciated it, and he asked the Rebbe to please let him know before the Fabrengen starts which Rashi he's going to talk about, because he wants to prepare it. So the Rebbe told me he can't tell him before Shabbos because he doesn't know himself necessarily before Shabbos what he's going to speak about. Friday night, the Rebbe wouldn't go home to eat the meal till very late. He would go home after Meyer, stay up in his room, stay there for many hours and learn, and he would prepare the Fabrengen, and then he would go home only late at night. So the Maisa, he said he doesn't know. So but in the morning, when he comes to shul, he should stand near the door. Right when he walks in, I'll let him know. This Yid, Mr. Waldman, would wait by the Rebbe by the door, and he would tell him, the Rebbe would tell him which Rashi he's going to talk about, and he would go to daven in his shul, and then a Bachram heard what the Rebbe said. He would tell the Gabbai would announce that the Rebbe is going to speak of this and this Rashi. So they knew which Rashi the Rebbe is going to speak about. They also knew it was going to be a Fabrengen, because not necessarily was there a Fabrengen every Shabbos those years. The Rebbe used to usually Fabrengen only Shabbos of Archim. So they would know there's going to for sure be a Fabrengen that week. Anyways, then Mr. Wolman would come back, 1:30 would be the Fabrengen of the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would say in the middle of the Fabrengen, one of the Sichos be on the Rashi. And his 1 week, the Rebbe did not announce a Rashi to say, because he was not planning a Fabrengen. But some Bacher played a joke, and he told another Bacher that the Rebbe said he's going to speak about this Rashi. And that Bacher thought it was true, and he ran down and he told the Gabbai, it was the Elter Yid, Rebbechen and Gordon, and he told him that the Rebbe is going to speak about this in this Rashi. So of course, as soon as the Rebbe walked in, the Seder was that he announced the Rashi, so the Oilam, when they have a minute, they could look up the Rashi a little bit and think about it. So he announced that there's going to be this Rashi. So L'maisa, the Rebbe was very, what's going on over here? He's not Fabrengen, he's not speaking about this Rashi, and here's this announcement, and he's very disturbed. And the Rebbe was very upset. And the Rebbe said he wants to know who said this. Where did this come from? So the second Bacher came up, and he said that it wasn't him. Some Bacher told him that Bacher is already long gone.
Oh boy.
Because as soon as he got the message across, he ran out of 770 and no one knew where he was. So L'maisa was that the Rebbe was very upset. He said he's not starting to daven until the Bacher comes up. The Bacher didn't come up. 15 minutes later, the Rebbe started davening. That was it. Anyways, the next week, the Rebbe Taka Fabring, the next Shabbos, and the Rebbe said, in middle, he spoke about the story, and he said that he got upset. He shouldn't have gotten upset, the Rebbe said. The Rebbe, we know that Kol HaKoyis, we just learned, Kilo Ovid Chamazolis. It's a terrible thing to get upset. And the Rebbe said, even though it was a person should understand, like the Rebbe explains in Tanya, that it's supposed to happen to you. Allah Nizik V'Anizik V'Shemayim. This was supposed to happen to me. Someone should make this announcement, and But the Rebbe said, so therefore the Rebbe said he shouldn't have gotten upset, and it was wrong, and the Rebbe said about Rabbim. But then the Rebbe said that two things. First of all, he said that usually by the Chabad Rebbeim, we never find a concept where you announce what you're going to speak about by the Fabreinen. There's no such a thing. This he said you find in Rosh Hashivas.
Right.
Rosh Hashivas let you know the Mar Makoimis, the Shir they're going to talk about. But isn't that something by Rebbes? They let you know what the Fabreinen is going to be about, the Tish. There's not such a thing. The Rebbe comes and says what he wants to say. So he said that since this happened, Hashgacha Prat is that he shouldn't continue this minig of letting know what the Rashi is going to be. That's the Hayrah for him, Almaila, he should stop, but he shouldn't have gotten upset about it. But then he said, hey, Yois, for some reason, they said he's going to speak about this Rashi. He has no idea why they said he should speak about this Rashi. He's going to speak about the Rashi and explain, it was already the next parasha. And he actually explained the whole Sikha on a Rashi of that parasha, Parashas HaShavua. But he said since last week they said for some reason to speak about Hashgacha Pratis, I should speak about that Rashi for some reason. I have no idea why they picked out this Rashi. And he spoke for shortly a few minutes, just for 5 minutes, just about that Rashi. That was the...
So what happened to Mr. Waldman after that?
Lamaisa was that Mr. Waldman didn't take that, he didn't like that. So a little while later he asked the Rebbe again, and the Rebbe continued his minig of letting him know the Rashi. And all the years, he was nifter just like 2-3 years ago. All the years, he was one, and the Rebbe used to say, the Rebbe sometimes would get upset to Chassidim, he'd say, you don't kach in my sichis and Rashi, I'm giving you so much, I'm showering you with so much sichis, and only because of this Yid, Yosef Waldman, that's why I'm saying the sichis for him. Covered him that he comes here and he's really interested in the sichis.
You mentioned him also.
In general, about the sichis, yeah. He one time actually said, interesting, later years, the Rebbe said, he spoke on the Rashis for many, many years, for over 25 years, the Rebbe had this whole concept of Rashi, developed how you learn Rashi al Torah, and he brought out a certain system of limud, and it's already been svarim on it. But Lamaisa, the Rebbe, one time sort of like kluksich, he complained a little bit, kvetched a little bit, that the Oilam, the Chassidim liked to chazer over his sichas and Rashi. But he wanted that they should pick up the style of learning and learn Rashi that he never spoke about, and figure out how to learn Rashi in this way. Not to just chazer over what he said. You should pick up the derech and learn the Rashi. Let's finish up the Sefer. We'll go to Meir. V'imu Talmud Chacham, if someone's a Talmud Chacham, v'cher for yibrizo echad ha'am, and one of the people ashamed him and made fun of him, lo yoshav acharpasa, he shouldn't answer him back. Because like you learned before, the derech hatzadikim is shemim charpasam ve'enim yeshivim, they don't answer back. Mikol mocking, that person yila oynish habezayin Torah is going to get punished for being mavaza Torah. If someone else will come and take revenge for the Chacham and give it back to that guy, the Chacham does not have to, should not be moichel. Not allowed. He's not allowed. He should be quiet and not answer, and he not stop that person. Even though he's a big tzaddik, he doesn't want. Okay, that guy can say whatever he wants, and he doesn't care about it. He shouldn't stop that person. This is what Chazal meant when they said, "Kol Talmud Chacham she'inoikim and noiter kinachash einei Talmud Chacham." Any Talmud Chacham which does not take revenge like a snake, he's not a Talmud Chacham. What does it mean taking revenge? It doesn't mean he himself should take revenge. He himself should not say anything back. Don't retort anything. But if someone else is going to take revenge, be quiet and don't say anything about it. Why do you not consider a Talmud Chacham? Why don't we say he's a Talmud Chacham, just he didn't take revenge? He's a nice guy. Why does he become no longer a Talmud Chacham? So the Rebbe explains, since you don't care about Torah, any chanami, it's nothing to do with you. People think the Kavod Torah is the person. The Kavod Torah is, well, this person has in him Torah. He's like a Sefer Torah. He has in him Torah. So the person doesn't have the rights to be moichel on it. It's not you. It's the Torah. So if you're not makbid on it, you don't care about it. It shows you don't care. It's not only you don't care about yourself, you don't care about the Kavod of Torah. You're not a real Talmud Chacham. A real Talmud Chacham cares about the Kavod of Torah. Mikol Mokin still the person asks for forgiveness, you should right away give forgiveness. So despise me, I don't bear a grudge about it. The guy did something wrong, but that's it. He did it. Show you're a Talmud Chacham. You right away forgive him. Shebepiyu zek kvar niskan kavod hatayra. Kavod hatayra was already corrected with the fact that he was mafayis. Val zeh amru, this Chazal say, kol amayvel midois of anyone who forgives easily, umaychol misham mafayisei, ma'avirin le'akol pshav. He's forgiven for all his sins. Because the betzar haguf. All of this has to do with being pained, physically pained. If he said something against the Talmud Chacham, or did something to him. If it's nothing to do with his body, it's to do with his money, his possessions. You're not allowed to have nekama or netira. Nekama or netira you're not allowed to have if it's something to do with your possessions. It's only have to do with kavod hatoira, not about your possessions. Anyone who takes revenge or netira, we'll see the difference in a minute. He's oiven aloysis Hashem alissikim leisitis b'nei amecha. Ezin nikima, what does it mean nikima revenge? Amalei said to him, Hashileni kardumcha, please lend me your axe. He said, I'm not lending it to you. Lamarcha, the next day, the person comes to him and says, Amalei Hashileni magalcha, lend me your sickle. Amalei eni mashulcha gedera shitani. I'm not going to lend you just like you didn't lend me yesterday. Zui nikim, that's revenge. However, Amalei, if he told him, Hadeni mashulcha, I will lend you. The eni kamei, so I'm not like you. You didn't want to lend me yesterday, but I'm nicer than you. Today I'm going to do it. Zui netira, because you're holding a grudge in your heart. He should erase it from his heart. Again, a very difficult midah. Erase it from one's heart. Don't mention it all. Not only don't mention it, don't bring it up in your heart, because netira is something in the heart.
It's very hard.
It's not just a Talmud Chacham. Every person has to be careful with these middas. So we should all strive and work towards these middas. It's a lifetime goal.
Amen.
But we have to be on the path. We have to be on the track.